Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Promising Picture Books. I'm Ronny Khuri, an editor at Booklist, and before we begin, I will go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in a reminder email that you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, you can open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links that are located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, you can contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. If you are in the audience, you are in listen-only mode, but we do welcome any questions that you may have. So on the bottom of your Zoom screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question or if you need technical assistance, you can just click Q&A and type your message into the box that pops up. We will do our best to respond to all of the tech-related questions, and then we can pass along all other questions to today's panelists, and they will be able to follow up with you after the webinar. We also offer closed captioning on our webinars. So to enable or disable captions on your screen, you can look for and click the captions icon on that toolbar I mentioned a moment ago. From there, you can select show or hide captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting caption settings. And finally, we do expect all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect, and anyone who violates that standard of behavior may, at the discretion of the organizers, be removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Golda Rademacher, Library Sales and Marketing Director for W.W. Norton Company, Colette Perry, Marketing Design Associate at Charlesbridge, Sarah McKenzie, Publisher and Founder of Waxwing, Ellen Myrick, Founder and President of Publisher Spotlight, and Greta Scholl, Marketing Manager at Disney Publishing. And first, we will hear from Golda Rademacher. Golda is the Library Sales and Marketing Director for W.W. Norton Company, which is the largest employee-owned independent book publisher in the U.S. You can often find her checking out too many books at the local library. You can subscribe to the Norton Library newsletter for updates and ARC giveaways, and follow her on Instagram and Blue Sky at W.W. Norton Library. Thank you so much for joining us, Golda.
Thank you, Ronnie, and hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Here is my contact information and the publishers that we distribute. And then here are a few books that are available now and coming soon. And next is Where I Grew. This is the new picture book written by Jashar Awan, who recently received a Caldecott Honor for Every Monday Mabel. Where I Grew is illustrated by Rahele Bell, and the story was inspired by both Jashar and Rahele's family histories. The book starts with a grandfather and granddaughter walking through a forest, talking about the journey that brought him there and the roots they have set down. The girl grows up as the story moves on until at the end you see her watching her own children and thinking about how they will have their own journeys and growth. School Library Journal said it is perfect for themes of family heritage, environmental connections, and developing a sense of belonging. Ripples is the vibrant new picture book by Katie Yamasaki. This book is about caretaking both for people and the environment. A girl and her aunt are rafting down the river and seeing people and animals along the shore, all in the process of taking care of each other in some way. The girl and her aunt start picking up trash from the water, but it's a big job for just two people. Then all the people that they saw while they were going down the river come rafting down and join them to help clean up the water. With electric, eye-catching illustrations, Ripples reminds us of the value of care and the ways we can perform it for each other and for the world around us. Michelle Schaub's new book, A Pathway for Pollinators, is illustrated by Blanca Gomez. They also worked together on A Place for Rain. There's not much pollen to be found around the steel buildings, concrete roads, and primly trimmed lawns of the city. So the school children in the book plan and build urban gardens to create an inviting pathway for pollinators to visit. From window boxes to schoolyards to roof gardens to neighborhood parks, resting and pollen collecting spots spring up around the town and form a pathway for the pollinators, who are such an important part of the ecosystem. The back matter talks about why we need pollinators and why they need us, and gives tips for creating your own pathway for pollinators. And Michelle Schaub also has Pumpkin Smash coming out at the end of August, just in time for fall. This is about composting, but also gleefully celebrates the joy of smashing a pumpkin. It is an upbeat and playful celebration of Halloween and a call to action to reduce landfill waste and support local ecosystems. In A Garden for Lily, we're back at the apartment building from Dumplings for Lily, but this time everyone is working on dishes for the block party. Young Lily goes down to the garden to get some strawberries, but while she's there, she encounters one grandma after another looking for ingredients and giving her another task, including feeding Mr. Nibbles, the composter. When it's time for the party, everyone brings a different delicious dish from around the world, and Lily is extra proud of the strawberries that she helped to grow. A Garden for Lily is a cheerful and engaging celebration of urban gardening and the ways food connects our communities. The back matter has some secrets for a happy garden and tips for composting. Birds in the Boat is a dreamy and sort of surreal picture book from Audrey Weber. The pictures also have a sense of humor in them, and kids can have fun pointing out the unexpected creatures, like a flying fish, an octopus trying to join the birds in the boat, and a frog catching a ride on the back of a bird. Publishers Weekly called this a lullaby made visible, and Kirkus called it charming and soothing. Picadillo for Paulina takes that common event when a child suddenly realizes where meat comes from and decides to be a vegetarian, and turns it into a lovely story of acceptance and adaptation. It's Paulina's birthday, and after the family visits an animal sanctuary, they come home for a celebration with their favorite dish of picadillo, but Paulina will not eat it. She faces questioning from her family and hears the stories of all their traditions around picadillo, but she holds firm. Luckily, Nana understands and brings Paulina some wonderful meatless items for the meal, and they decide to come up with a recipe for vegetarian picadillo. The back of the book includes some history of picadillo and recipes for one with meat and one with tofu. Best-selling author Kim Michelle Richardson's new picture book, My Kentucky Moonlight School, tells the story of Kentucky's pioneering moonlight schools through the eyes of Jewel and her grandparents. They set off through the moonlit hills for graduation night at their school, where adults from all walks of life come to learn. You can see how education has improved the lives of the people. There's a coal miner who can sign his full name for the first time in his life. One man is paid 50 cents more a day since learning basic math. Widow Morrison can finally write to her 9 children after years of lost connection. And then I'll admit I get a little choked up at the end when Jewel's grandfather gives her a book to read for herself as a thank you for tutoring him. And he is able to read her a story from it. In the back matter, you'll learn more about Cora Wilson Stewart, who started the schools, and the way these schools provided a launching point for more adult education. This is a lovely picture book about family, community, and the importance of education. Nikki McClure's new book, A Forest, a Family, a Harbor, a Home, is a gorgeously handcrafted story rooted in the nature and landscape of the Northwest. She made these illustrations by cutting the black paper and layering it over colored paper. I really want a print of this spread with the whale under the water. She cut out the whale, then layered colored tissue paper over it, And then on top is the paper cut illustration of the boat and rain. And I just think this is so cool. The story is threaded with the experience of childhood and parenthood, how it feels to explore from a safe harbor, go out into the world, and then come home again. A forest, a family, a harbor, a home is a rich and deeply felt meditation on the intimacy of home, the wonder of the world, and the magic of discovery. Nature Knows is being published by Thames and Hudson. This book is basically about the importance of touching grass, if the kids still say that. A family goes camping and has the opportunity to discover what nature knows about unfurling busy minds and bringing us home to ourselves. Backed by current research, this adventure-filled story includes scientific facts about the benefits of nature-based play in children's well-being. And our charming friend Mouse is back in Alice Melvin's Mouse Goes to the Mountains. This is the fourth book in the series. Each book has sturdy flaps that reveal more intricate illustrations underneath. This time, Mouse is heading into the mountains on a hiking adventure to take in breathtaking views and discover the wildlife that makes this remarkable habitat a home. The Secret World of Bird Nests is the second book in a series after The Secret World of Spiderwebs, which got an NCTE Orbis Pictus recommendation. Birds have a remarkable ability to build complex and beautiful nests. Depending on their habitat and way of life, a bird's nest can float on water, teeter on the highest outcrop, or hide inside the trunk of a tree. In this beautifully illustrated book, young readers will discover the remarkable variety of nest building techniques used by birds from around the world and marvel at their ingenious use of materials, from soft feathers and cushioning moss to spider silk and sticky spittle. Grandma, What's That? By Princess Booker is being published by Akashic Books. This is a fun holiday book where the 9-mile babies set off on an exciting bobsleigh ride across the globe, from Kenya to St. Lucia, searching for the perfect gifts for each other. The book invites young readers around the world to discover the rich heritage of the Caribbean and Africa. And here's a good one for summer. In Patty Brozo's The Mermaid from Tilbury House, Serena is scared of the water after her cousin carelessly throws her in. But then her grandfather gently introduces her to first floating, then swimming, and then exploring the wonders of the lake. This is a tender story about the power of intergenerational relationships and overcoming your fears. The Wimmel books from The Experiment are board books with tons of illustrations and search and find elements that kids can go back to again and again. Kids can make up stories about what's happening on the pages and learn new words and feelings. And we have even more great summer and fall books, so I hope you'll check out our catalogs on Edelweiss. The QR code on this slide will take you to our 2026 children's book catalog, and you can reach me through this email or find more information through the library marketing link on the slide. So thank you all again for joining us today, and I hope you have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, Golda. Next up, we will hear from Colette Perry. Colette has worked in marketing at Charlesbridge for 7 years. She was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and holds a BA in Communications and Music from Simmons University. She lives in the Boston area. Thank you so much for being here today, Colette.
Thank you, Ronnie. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. I have something a little different in store for you right now. We will be doing a deep dive on an exciting new initiative, Steamworks. This series features children of all backgrounds and abilities using scientific, mathematical, and creative thinking to solve everyday problems and answer questions that matter to them. Playful stories and extension activities ignite excitement for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and empower children as thinkers, problem solvers, and innovators. Our mission is to show children of all backgrounds and experiences that STEAM is fun, STEAM is everywhere, and STEAM is for everyone. These books are created in partnership with Count Play Explore, which is an initiative led by the Office of Fresno County Superintendent of Schools Early Care and Education Department. We've been really pleased and delighted to work with them on this project. For readers age 0 to 3, we have beautifully illustrated board books that lay developmentally appropriate groundwork for STEAM topics. Each board book is simultaneously published in English and in a Spanish-English bilingual edition. In Moon Chef by Delia Ruiz, with art by Nomar Perez, a little girl delights in eating foods that match the shape of the moon. Her family enjoys treats like conchas, empanadillas, and more. This book cleverly incorporates both the span of a single day, from breakfast pastries to evening flan, and the span of the month as the moon outside Gabby's window changes shape. Now, whenever there's a children's book about the phases of the moon, I have to wonder what they do with the most fun and the most challenging phase of all, the gibbous phase, also known as the three-quarter moon. In Moon Chef, it's compared to a soursop fruit, a delicious tropical treat that Gabby enjoys as a glass of juice. Even the new moon gets a look-alike when she licks her flan plate clean like new. This charming exploration of shapes and lunar phases also recognizes the rich food culture of Mexico and Puerto Rico, where Gabby's family heritage comes from. Back Matter breaks down what's actually happening in the lunar cycle and suggests more ways to explore shapes and think about our nearest celestial neighbor. Moon Chef, also available as Chef Luna Moon Chef, is on sale May 5th. Manny Matches the Weather by Jenny Lassica with art by Antonieta Munoz Estrada is a funny and relatable tale of a boy who is ready to be in charge of his own clothes. Manny takes great pride in his sense of style and really wants to pick his own outfits, but his creative vision doesn't always match with the reality of the great outdoors. Relatable. Sometimes his neighborhood is too hot for boots, too cold for shorts, or too snowy for sandals. By observing the temperature and the weather, he learns to choose his clothing with both fashion and function in mind. Now, choosing clothes and dressing independently is a really important developmental step for kids, and Manny Matches the Weather really celebrates the importance of Manny's agency while fostering observational skills that will help readers to make informed choices. Back Matter invites further curiosity about the weather and offers a handy guide to understanding the relationship between the number on the thermometer and the subjective experience of temperature. This book is on sale May 5th. A Party of Colors by Aya Khalil and Bayan Laham with art by Olivia Acer is a delightful sensory-forward story that explores sequencing and color mixing. The family car needs a bath after a camping trip, so Baba takes Salem on his first trip to the car wash. Salem is completely bespelled as different primary colors of soap and foam swamp the vehicle, mixing to form secondary colors. Perfectly timed page turns will delight toddlers as they guess the color names. Red and yellow combine to form orange. A tracker at the top of the page, which you'll see on this slide here, keeps readers oriented to where they are in the washing process, from pre-wash through to rinse and dry. Back Matter invites further exploration of sequences and routines, ordinal words, cause and effect, and color mixing with food coloring. This book is on sale September 8th. Let's wrap up our board book session with Sort, Wash, Roar by Songju Ma Daemeki with art by Sian James, a delightful onomatopoeia-filled trip to the laundromat, the perfect place to learn about sorting and categorization. Auntie Kate takes the twins on a very important errand. First, it's time to separate lights from darks to prevent color bleeding in the wash. But when colorful items put a wrinkle in the system, the kids learn that they can create new categories to account for this difference. When the rumble and roar of the machine is done, it's time to help things find their people. Mom, Dad, Auntie Kate, and each of the kids has their own pile. But there are some things like aprons and towels that don't belong to just one person. They belong to everyone, so they get their own pile too. Back Matter encourages kids to keep thinking about sorting and categories with toys, clothes, and food at the grocery store. Even everyday errands are full of learning in Sort, Wash, Roar, on sale October 6th. Now, for readers age 4 to 7, Steamworks picture books explore meaningful real-world scenarios and model enthusiasm for STEAM and creative problem solving. Each picture book is simultaneously published in English and in Spanish. In Sounds of Trash by Tina Athaid with art by Neha Rawat, Pran and his friends make an important contribution to their neighborhood block party. It's the best party of the year, but this year it'll be in the local park. No electricity means no booming Bhangra beats. Filled with inspiration, Pran and his friends use the engineering design process to brainstorm ideas and refine designs until they know just how to fill the air with sound, using trash and recycling. The kids make shakers, drums, twangy strings, and more for an acoustic party experience that nobody in the neighborhood will forget. Back matter includes a glossary, more about the science of sound and the engineering design process, and ideas for further musical investigation. Sounds of Trash is on sale August 4th. Sisters All the Time by Angela Quezada Padron introduces us to a special pair of sisters. Mari and Luz are half-sisters. They have the same papi, but different moms. Every weekend, they get to play and have fun together. But when Sunday rolls around, Luz has to go back to her mom's house, and Mari has to stay with Papi and her mom. Until one week, an expected delay in pickup gives them 2 whole extra hours together. Filled with excitement, the girls plan all kinds of fun stuff to fill the time and make their best estimation of how long it'll take. Their new schedule is packed to the minute. But soon, the girls discover they forgot a few things in their plan. Can they really make the most of their time together? 1 in 6 kids live with a half-sibling in the US, according to the 2020 census. But there's very little representation of this family structure in children's books. This story honors the complexity and the love in this kind of relationship, making it clear that while Mari and Luz only live together part of the time, they really and truly are sisters all the time. Back matter includes a glossary of English and Spanish terms, some activities to practice telling and managing time, and an author's note about her own experience in a blended family with half-siblings, some relatives living in the United States and some in the Dominican Republic. This book is on sale September 8th. Ramp It Up sheds light on the creative thinking behind accessibility when Zoe's dollhouse needs a remodel. Zoe wants to host a rooftop pool party for her toys and her friends' toys too. But there's only a staircase, not a ramp, so Car and Miles can't go. Zoe knows exactly how bad it feels when someplace isn't accessible. When her first attempt at building a ramp fails, she does a little investigating. By breaking down her real-life ramp and the ramp on her dollhouse into basic shapes and comparing their angles, she's able to come up with a design using a safe, ADA-approved 1/12 slope that makes the party inclusive for all dolls. Ramp It Up is a sweet, natural fusion of imaginative play, the engineering design process, wheelchair accessibility, compassion, and friendship. Back matter includes a glossary, a note about accessibility, and more activities to explore shapes and simple machines. This book is on sale October 6th. And last, but certainly not least, today for you we have June's Solar Oven by Jen Malia, illustrated by Rachel and Philippa Corcutt, a story about a very special day at an after-school science club. June is beyond excited for the annual Solar Oven Pizza Challenge, but a last-minute change of venue makes her question everything. She hates new places. A little support and encouragement from her sister helps her feel ready to go anyway. Once she's at the park, the science takes over. Her team works together with their materials to make a design that will gather light from the sun and convert it into heat that will melt the cheese on their pizza crackers. Naturally, the course of true science never did run smooth. Their first design doesn't hold the heat long enough to melt cheese, and the park has some unexpected sensory challenges in store. It takes some creative thinking about accommodations and engineering to make an environment where June can focus and find a solution. June's Solar Oven is a great portrayal of an autistic main character showing up as her whole self and using her strengths. Back matter includes a glossary, instructions for building a solar oven, and more everyday activities to investigate the power of the sun. This book is on sale October 11th. Each title also comes with free extension activities from the education experts at our partnership at CSS, available in English and Spanish, perfect for classroom teachers, librarians, booksellers, and families. And the STEAM Fund does not stop with the titles we've covered just today. Keep your eyes peeled in 2027 as we continue to release exciting new titles about gardening, dance, coding, animal behavior, and more. If you are as excited as we are about these books, I really encourage you to check out our Educator Ambassador program. Ambassadors are provided with books, extension activities, and everything you need to help spread the word about this series. Share the news with your teacher friends and sign up using this QR code for your chance to partner with Charlesbridge and get more kids excited about STEAM. Thank you guys so much for listening today. If you have any questions, you can reach me at cperry@charlesbridge.com. Be sure to check out our Steamworks homepage at steamworksbooks.com and stay tuned for more information. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, Colette. Next up is Sarah Mackenzie. Sarah is a speaker, author, and the host of the Read Aloud Revival, a podcast that's been downloaded over 16 million times. Her published books include the USA Today and Publishers Weekly bestseller, The Read Aloud Family, Teaching from Rest, and several award-winning picture books. She is the publisher and founder of the boutique publishing house Waxwing Books, a press dedicated to making timeless books that families will love to read aloud. The floor is yours, Sarah.
Thank you so much. First, I just want to thank you all for being here. I know you all have busy schedules, so being here today is a sacrifice for you, taking time to be here. And everyone who's here is dedicated to putting really excellent books into the hands of young readers. So thank you, thank you. Like was said, I'm Sarah Mackenzie. I'm the publisher of Waxwing Books, which is a new boutique children's publishing house. It was founded in 2023 and is the publishing imprint of Read Aloud Revival, which is a publishing imprint. I'm sorry, Waxwing Books is the publishing imprint of Read Aloud Revival. Read Aloud Revival is a podcast and online community. The podcast has been downloaded over 16 million times all over the world, over 167 countries. And we make curated book lists that reach over 130,000 families, making it possible that families using our lists are coming into your libraries and bookshops looking for great books. Whether they have or haven't, I wanted to let you know where you can find these free book lists before I show you what we have coming up next, so that you can use these however they serve you best. I think of specific interest to you today are going to be our RAR monthly picture book lists. Those are some of our most popular. Families use these free resources to find great read alouds to share with their kids through the seasons. So you can see all of those at, let's see if I can't put it back up again, but readaloudrevival.com/recommends. That's where you can get those free book lists. So we have been dedicated for over a decade to helping families find really great read alouds at Read Aloud Revival. And so we started making them in our own imprint at Waxwing Books. Because we're new to most of you, I want to tell you a little bit about our press. We publish really beautifully crafted children's books that are meant to be read aloud and cherished for generations. Really committed to giving meticulous attention to detail in every aspect of our books, from content to design. And it was really, the whole press has been built on this simple conviction that I learned from a good friend of mine, who's now passed, Tommy DePaola, the author of Stregonona and a million other books that we all love, who repeated to me so many times that only the best books are good enough for children. And that's really what we're trying to do at Waxwing. We released our first titles in 2023. And so far, every single one of our books has either received awards or starred reviews or both. Speaking of starred reviews, we're earning some enthusiastic response from leading review outlets like Booklist, Kirkus Reviews, Forward Reviews, as well as praise from other industry and reader-facing publications, which is quite exciting. I want to take a minute to tell you about our upcoming historical fiction picture book, Books Up the Mountain, a pack horse librarian story written by Caroline Starr Rose and illustrated by Gabrielle Grimard. It's coming August 4th. Some stories are too important to be forgotten, right? And during the Great Depression, families living in the Appalachian Mountains had very little access to books. But as many of us know, that there were a group of very determined women who changed that. They rode horses and mules over steep mountain trails, carrying saddlebags of stories to readers who were eagerly waiting for them and couldn't get them otherwise. So Books Up the Mountain is a beautiful picture book that tells the remarkable true story of these packhorse librarians who rode miles through snow and rain and rugged mountains to bring books to the isolated families. And specifically tells the story of a particular bookwoman who mounts her sure-footed mule and begins her journey through the mountain. And where she goes, there are old and young that are eagerly waiting for her arrival, and nothing can really stop her because she knows she carries something more than just books. She carries stories, and stories change lives. It's a story about the transformative power of picture books and the dedication of librarians who, I mean, we all know, right? To bringing really good books to readers all over the world. We actually have some really unique pre-order bonuses if This book is pre-ordered from our website. So there are, you could of course get it through your normal channels, but if you were to order it through our website, we have some things like a digital storytime companion that would be excellent for library story times, a digital how-to scrapbook class, a digital or a customizable book plate, and then also an entry to win a full Waxwing library. We are tucking golden library cards into 20 of those pre-ordered books and randomly. And so the winners of those golden library cards will win an entire collection of Waxwing books. Speaking of, I'd love to show you some of our backlist titles as well, because picture books are something of our specialty around here. A Little More Beautiful, The Story of a Garden was our first picture book. We actually launched our publishing house with this book on Kickstarter, and that sold over 4,600 books on the Kickstarter alone in 3 weeks, over the course of 3 weeks, outperforming our goal by over 400%, which has been quite exciting. It's been out now for less than 3 years and has sold over 12,000 copies. It's a story about seeing and being seen, perfect for readers who love Miss Rumphius by Barbara Cooney, The Library by Sarah Stewart, David Small. It's got those kind of vibes. Our second book is While Everyone is Sleeping. This title has been even more popular, selling more than 13,000 copies since we released it 3 years ago. Just before morning, our little shrew, so cute, is awakened by the moon and follows a mysterious fragrance that leads her to a garden of moonflowers, flowers that bloom just at night, where moths flutter and crickets hum and frogs and peepers keep the beat. So it's a merry romp in a moonlit garden, a perfect bedtime story, illustrated by Gabrielle Grimard. Next up, we have Because Barbara Cooney Paints Her World. This is a picture book biography celebrating the author and illustrator Barbara Cooney, illustrated by Eileen Ryan Ewan. It tells the story about Barbara Cooney's commitment to capturing the beauty of the world onto the page. Truly gorgeous illustrations. Eileen did a lot of research in Barbara's home in Damascotta, Maine, and sitting at a table with her oldest son, Barnaby, to get the details just right. And it is quite delightful. Booklist, in fact, gave it a starred review, saying it will intrigue many adult readers as well as children, particularly those familiar with Cooney's timeless picture books. Dear Duck, Please Come. That one's written by me, illustrated by Charles Santoso, is our best-selling picture book so far. Charles Santoso was so delightful. As you can see in the clouds on this cover, there are some teeth hiding. That is because the story opens with a duck who receives a letter in the mail from his good friend Rabbit, who says, "Dear Duck, I lost my tooth." And Duck, who doesn't have teeth, knows that a good friend thing to do is to help your friend find something they lost. So he rallies his friends and they search high and low all through Piney Glen looking for that tooth. And what you'll find is that Charles Santoso has tucked teeth all over. You can see them here in the sunlit shadows, the patches of sunlight. They're in the mushrooms, they're in the clouds, they're in the flowers. They're all over this book. So much fun. Kirkus Reviews actually said this one is great for fans of A.A. Milne's Winnie the Pooh. Painting Wonder is a picture book biography, a 48-page, in fact, picture book biography about the illustrator of the Narnia books, Pauline Baynes. Kirkus gave it a starred review and said it's a beautiful tribute. It's beautifully told, and it includes a timeline and back matter of Pauline's life, including her illustrations for both C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. And this one is just especially a wonderful pick for schools and libraries because there is such rich back matter and because kids usually will recognize the illustrations from the Narnia books especially. Next up is Flora and the Jazzers, written and illustrated by Astrid Shekels. This is a Cinderella story of sorts. It's set in 1920s New York, or at least a city, but it sure feels like New York. Flora the ferret longs to attend a concert someday. She loves music so much, but she is just a lowly scullery maid, and she has to save every penny. She discovers that her favorite band, the Jazzers, are coming to the hotel where she works. She's determined to hear them, but the manager tells her she cannot go because music is not for someone like you. And it turns out, however, that the jazzers have a problem that only Flora can help. This is stunning, truly 40 pages of gorgeous illustrations by Astrid. It's really no wonder, I think, that Kirkus gave it a starred review saying it was sumptuously illustrated, jazz age illustrated, jazz age Cinderella story. We think you'll agree. Love it so much. Something that's unique about Waxwing Books is that every picture book, we include a free streamed audio read aloud version with and without page turn cues. You know, when you were a kid and you listened to audiobooks and it'd say, like, when you hear the tone, bring, turn the page. We thought children still deserve those. So we have for 2 free streamed audio book versions that library patrons or customers can access just by scanning the QR code on the back of each of our picture books. That will take them to a page where they can choose with or without page cues. And that just makes the book read aloudable, because we are such huge fans of reading aloud and language coming in through the ear, that it makes the book read aloudable no matter whether a child has an adult ready to read to them or not. So pretty delightful. And you can feel free to share that with your customers and patrons, of course. Thank you so much for giving me this time to share about Waxwing and all of our books. Thank you especially for all the incredibly valuable work you do putting books in the hands of young readers. We'd love for you to visit our website. We have special pre-order bonuses, especially if you're able to purchase from our website itself, or if you have any questions at all about the audiobooks or any of the resources we have for teachers and librarians and families, reach out to either myself, I'm the publisher, or Elena Cohane, our marketing coordinator. Emails are right there on screen. And thanks so much for your time. And thank you very much to Booklist for the time today.
Thank you, Sarah. And next up is Ellen Myrick. Ellen is the founder and president of Publisher Spotlight, your discovery spot for the best of the best from international and independent presses. She currently serves on the executive board of the United States Board on Books for Young People and is a frequent webinar host and presenter. She will talk books to anyone, as her airplane seatmates can attest. Take it away, Ellen.
Thank you so much, Ronnie, and I'm just so excited to be with you. First, let me just wish you all a happy National Library Week. It is an important week, and we need to celebrate it more this year than ever. And thank you so much for all you do for your communities. Now let's get started with some more books, shall we? These are some of the publishers we're going to talk about today. And together right now is our first one from Blue Dot Kids Press. So let's go to that next slide. There we go. This is looking at that thing where you think about where you are right at this moment. And in this book, it begins with a child being read to by their mother. And then the next thing you see is what else is happening in the world at right this exact moment, and starts thinking about all the different places around the world and what is going on there, the busy cities, even deserts. And these illustrations are so, so gorgeous. And one thing I really love about this is Olga Fadiva's illustrations. She is really somebody to watch. She's been on lots of best of the year lists from Booklist and School Library Journal, and she's won the United States Board on Books for Young People. Hey, I think that's Belgium. And she's also had a Bank Street Best Book. So she is somebody to really watch. And Blue Dot Kids Press comes to us from New Zealand and here, and of course, outer space. We have to have a little Artemis nod, right? So there we go. So they are based in New Zealand and on the west coast of the United States. Everybody I show you today is easily available here in the US. It's going to come from your favorite distributor. So next up, we have Tessa's Red Dress. Now, if you don't know about this publisher, Medicine Wheel Publishing, I'm delighted to be the one to introduce you to them. They're based in British Columbia. Everything they do is from Indigenous authors and creators, and they are culturally authentic. They're supported by the Indigenous Elders and Educators Council. And Red Dress Day is a day that commemorates the missing and murdered Indigenous women. So you're thinking, how do you do that in a picture book? Well, we have a child who's talking to her mother and asks where she got her name. And her mother says, well, you're named for my sister, for your aunt. And that is how we get into the story of the aunt that has gone missing. And you learn a little bit about the family dynamic, what happens after the aunt disappears when she was younger, and then when they're getting ready to go out and do their march, because you have to bring awareness to these situations. So Red Dress Day is coming up very soon. I love how the dad is even getting in on the action here with this march, and there is some great back matter in here. So check out Medicine Wheel Publishing for those authentic Indigenous stories. Is that not the most badass author photo you ever saw? Anyway, moving on to our next one. All our families are awesome. You know, when Colette was talking about sisters all the time, I feel like that would be a really good pair with this one. So all our families are awesome. These are about kids who are on the playground and they're going to play families, right? So they start picking out who is going to be who. And as they get deeper and deeper into that conversation, it becomes a little complicated, but it becomes this really rich conversation and dialogue about different family dynamics. And kids ask each other questions. They do it from a place of innocence. And I think it's just such a lovely, lovely book. So it's like, do you miss your mom? Hey, you have two houses. How does that work? Does your mom's at one house, your dad's at another one? No, where is your dad? Where is your mom? Do you miss her because she lives far away? Do you have two moms? All these questions come into play. And at the end of the time, they decide that, you know what? All their families are awesome. Let's play something else entirely. So they do that. And this comes to us from Florist Books based in Scotland. And again, as I said, everything is available here in the United States. Next up, we have Once Upon a Pickup Time, also from Florist Books. So were you ever that kid who was left behind when all the other parents had come to pick up their kids? I mean, I know I was, and I know that my children were occasionally too. Oops. Sorry, bad parent award goes to me. But in this case, there's a child whose dad is always the last one. So he starts weaving these fantastical tales about what his dad is up to and why he's going to be late. He's doing all these amazing things. And the other kids start hanging on every word because they want to hear about his adventures. And before you know it, these kids don't want to go home. They want to stay and listen to the story. So at the end of the day, this is a celebration of imagination, but also an acknowledgement that childcare and busy work lives can be really, really super challenging. So that is Once Upon a Pickup Time, coming to us from Florist Books. Yes, I love that one. And next up, from Blue Dot Kids Press, we're going back to New Zealand again. We have the Moon Sailors. Now, these illustrations are so gorgeous. I just kind of want to live there. We have a beautiful imagining of bedtime where the sea and the stars meet. And you have all these gorgeous, beautiful images, this really soft palette, and this lyrical language that really is a lullaby in and of itself. So, I mean, yeah, above constellation whales breach and blow. How beautiful is that? So this is Moon Sailors, and it is a perfect bedtime book and kind of makes me want to take a nap right now. But I'm not going to, because I want to talk about the next book, which is The White Raven by Catherine Otoshi. Now, if you're talking about beautiful dreamlike illustrations, you can't do better than Catherine Otoshi. She's the author-illustrator of 1 and 2 and 0. This is a rhapsody and a theme of what if a white raven was born. And this is something that does occasionally happen. So it's a bird that looks different, and the other birds can choose to pick on it or they can help it. And here's a child who thinks about what would happen with that white raven. What would happen? Could it be taken care of? Would it be loved and taken care of and helped to heal? And I just think it's such a beautiful rhapsody and a theme of kindness and taking an active role in making sure that the kind things happen. Kind things do happen. So this comes to us from Catherine Otoshi and from Red Comet Press, based in Brooklyn, and they do books from all around the world, which is just super amazing. Next up, we have Frankenkitty. This is another kind of misunderstood creature. In this case, we have the usual Dr. Frankenstein scientist who is creating this creature that everybody is terrified of. And I also love it anytime you have a Greek chorus and a picture book with a disembodied head and body parts. I just think it adds to the fun part here. So this is a perfect read aloud. And so the Dr. Frankenstein has created this kitty that everyone is terrified of because, oh my gosh, what is it going to do? And of course, the only person who sees Frankenkitty for the sweet, kind little creature that it is Olivia, the doctor's daughter. So while everybody freaks out, she is the calm center in the storm. And this is a perfect book for story time in the fall. It doesn't have to be Halloween. It can be anytime, really. So this comes to us from Tiger Tales. And also the next book is here to us from Tiger Tales. And that is The House That Love Built from Jessica Meserve. She did Archery, if you remember that book from last season. But this takes the idea of when there is a raindrop that is followed by a storm that comes through and just throws everyone's homes. It just wreaks havoc in the woods, and everybody has to rebuild their homes. So you can see everybody hiding from the storm. The lightning crashes, the trees fall down, the floods come and arrive. And then at the end of the day, they are kind of digging out trying to figure out what they have left. And it almost is overwhelming. And we all know this feeling, don't we, when everything just seems too much? But one step, coming together for just a moment, is going to help. So they all come together and help rebuild each other's homes. So that is the house that love built. Now, here's an idea. What if there was a mole who built an underground house before that storm happened? So to kind of explore that idea, we have with us Will Hamilton Davies all the way to us today from Sweden. So welcome, Will. Come on board. And you're still muted. Always happens.
I think it's going to be a double click on this laptop. I've tried it a million times, but we're there in the end. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thank you so much. And tell us about the mole and the mound and and how the story came to be.
Yeah, so I guess the mole and the mound and the house underground is probably partly came about because I've got many other brothers and sisters. I'm one of 6. So funnily enough, I guess, Ellen, we've not even spoken about this before, but it kind of came from a bit of an argument with one of my brothers where I think he was trying to hurt my feelings and he called me lazy. And to be honest, I feel like when I look at the story now, I think of myself at the time as a little bit like the mole who's working so hard on something that he believes so magnificent underground within the story, but all that bird, beaver, and bee can see is a kind of unimpressive, very modest mound. And I think part of that is really where the story came from, and just trying to understand other people's perspectives when they can't quite see what is really going on beneath the surface of the soil. So that's a bit of the backstory on that one.
That is amazing. Now, this is your first book with a publisher, Postwave Publishing, right? So that's exciting. Congratulations on that. Now, what do you want kids to take away from this story after they've read it?
I think in part, as is always the case when I'm writing, I'm thinking about trying to give kids a sense of confidence, curiosity, and kind of care when they're thinking about the world. And this is no different from that. It's very much, I guess, that timeless tale of not judging a book by its cover, but in this case, not judging a mole by the size of its mound. And I think what that really leads to, hopefully, is kids that want to look a little deeper and try to understand the world from other people's perspectives, not just their own. So hopefully a little bit more empathy, Ellen, but we'll see.
Well, that sounds perfect. And I think we're out of time on it. Thank you so much for coming to us from all the way from Sweden this today. And that's Will Hamilton Davies with The Mole and the Mound from Postwave Publishing. So you can see a few of the illustrations right here. So much fun. They all think their own home is best, but when the rains come, the best place to go is underneath. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you need to reach out to me, I'm Ellen Myrick, Ellen at publisherspotlight.com. Please follow us in all the social places, and happy National Library Week. Thanks so much, Will. Bye.
Thank you, Ellen, and thanks to Will as well. Our final presenter will be Greta Scholl. Greta is a marketing manager at Disney Publishing, where she's been part of the team since 2025. She loves the process and feeling of connecting people with the stories and literary experiences they love. Originally from Illinois, Greta is based in New York City, where she loves to sing karaoke and practice archery. Thank you for joining us, Greta.
What? So great to be here. I'm Greta Scholl, Marketing Manager for Disney Publishing, and I'm so excited to present a selection of our newly published and upcoming picture book titles. First up, we have 2 board books, which are bilingual concept books from National Geographic that are illustrated with engaging animal portraits from photographer Joel Sartori. In photo arc numbers, números, little ones learn their numbers from 1 to 10. In bodies, cuerpos, little ones will learn body parts head to toe. Both books offer all words in English and Spanish. Next, we have Lilibet Makes a Friend by Kirsten Hamilton, illustrated by Shanda McCloskey. Lilibet has tools, a lab, and a notebook. She also has lots of friends, like Calico Kate, Tom Zombie, and Dire Pup. It's just that they're all imaginary. So she plans a new project, Real Friend 1.0. As she sets out to build a friend, she is joined by Paul Peanut Shelley, who is keen to help whether Lilibet likes it or not. It turns out sometimes the best of friends come from unexpected places. With a relatable neurodivergent main character and a message of friendship and acceptance, This funny and heartfelt picture book is perfect for 3 to 7-year-olds. Next, we have The Honeybee Highway by Shanna Upchurch, illustrated by Dagmar Smith. An 18-wheeler rumbles to life in Florida, loaded with more than 400 beehives. Destination? The almond orchards of California, where millions of blossoms are waiting. 7-year-old Joey J isn't just along for the ride. She's got work to do. With Uncle Mike and expert driver Jose, she races through pit stops to keep the bees from flying away and keeps them cool under the blazing sun. Because Joey J knows these bees matter. They're part of an expansive network of commercial honeybees crisscrossing the country to pollinate food for people all over the world. This stunning debut sheds light on a little-known piece of our world's food supply and celebrates the magnificent honeybee. The author Shanna Upchurch keeps honeybees, and this one has back matter explaining more about commercial honeybees. The Amazing Augustus by Tammy Sauer, illustrated by Pauline Gregory. This picture book is about Augustus, a hubristic squirrel who is so busy celebrating himself and his amazing abilities that he winds up in the belly of a lion, at least for a little while. This book is a perfect preschool read aloud, as kids will love to notice the ways that Augustus's confident boasts don't quite match up to the reality they can see on the page, and laugh at his silly antics. Next, we have Furious Turtle by Lisa Frankel-Ridio, illustrated by Andrea Sarumi. When everything goes wrong for Turtle during the school carnival, he becomes shell-shakingly furious. How will he get through the rest of this obnoxious day? This second book in the Forest School of Big Feelings series, followed by Embarrassed Ferret, is a hilariously endearing picture book that offers a relatable look at tackling big feelings, losing with grace, and discovering your own calm in the face of chaos. Next, we have Penelope Rex versus the New Kid by Ryan T. Higgins. Everyone's favorite T-Rex classmate is back, but this time she's not the only dinosaur in the classroom. Will the playground be big enough for the two of them? Readers will root for Penelope as she navigates what it means to be one of a kind, even if she's no longer the only kid in her class who is 7 feet tall and covered in scales. This is another hilarious must-have picture book from beloved author Ryan T. Higgins. Lowrider for Sale by Laura de la Cruz, illustrated by Vanessa Morales. Gabby knows that Poppy's lowrider, Pico Nights, is more than a car. It's a family scrapbook on wheels, a treasure trove of memories for her, her Poppy, and Abuelo Chucho. It chauffeured Gabby's cousin to her quinceañera, rolled through years of 4th of July parades, and was there for warm summer night drives. When Poppy puts the car up for sale, Gabby is determined to find a way to save it. She tries to sell her own bike, organizes a community fundraiser, and even enters the lowrider in a competition, but she may have to learn that while their time with the car won't last forever, the memories they've made will. For those who are not familiar, a lowrider is a customized car with a lowered body that is designed for cruising around town, not speed. These cars have been an important part of Mexican-American culture, particularly in Southern California, since after World War II. This picture book is a colorful, heartfelt tribute to the lowrider culture that the author grew up with in East Los Angeles. A Princess is a Princess by Anika Noni Rose, illustrated by Jessica Gibson. A princess is still a princess no matter how she wears her hair, or whether she wears glasses, or whether she likes wearing pants instead of a dress. It's about what's on the inside, how a princess treats other people, and the confidence she has in herself. Whether feeling grumpy or joyful, playful or peaceful, this story is here to assure readers and princesses of all ages, sizes, colors, and abilities that they deserve to feel seen, celebrated, and royally loved. This is a message that means a lot to author Anika Noni Rose, the award-winning singer, actress, and voice of the Disney princess Tiana, who wants every kid to believe that they can be a princess if they want to be, no matter their appearance. And while it is an important message, it's delivered in a way that is playful and approachable to young readers, with really engaging illustrations. Next, we have Sophia Lee Can Fly by Marie Tang, illustrated by Lenny Wen. Bubbly and bold Sophia Lee is always doing the opposite of what her grandparents want her to do. Sophia Lee is messy where her grandparents are tidy. She's always looking for an adventure where her grandparents are careful. When the circus comes to town, Sophia decides that her next adventure will be to become a trapeze artist. Gong Gong and Popo aren't so sure. Sophia might get hurt. So Sophia shows Gong Gong and Popo just how tough she is and convinces them to let her try. But once Sophia gets to the trapeze school and sees just how tall the ladder is, doubt begins to creep in. With a little encouragement, Sophia is able to find her courage and learn what it takes to fly. This is a really special picture book that is sure to be relatable to any kid who knows what it's like to need a little support from a family member when they are trying something scary and new. It also shows a family where the child lives with her grandparents, so it's always nice to see representation of that family structure. And then the next two books are new Christmas titles. First, we have All I Want for Christmas by Phaeda Creed, illustrated by Suji Park. This adorable picture book is the first in a new series that follows adorable animal friends as they count down to a wide variety of holidays, learning along the way that the most meaningful gifts aren't always the ones you ask for. In this book, all Rena the reindeer wants for Christmas is her 2 front teeth, of course. So, she sets off on a quest across the North Pole to get her wish. But instead of finding the perfect teeth, Rena discovers the true magic of Christmas: friendship, laughter, and learning you're great just as you are. And we have Kitty vs. Christmas by Martha Freeman, illustrated by Ida Caban. Kitty has conquered kindergarten, and now he's back to take on a new nemesis: Christmas. Kitty is a good, nice kitty with a good, nice family who has a so cozy life that should never change. But to Kitty's everlasting surprise and annoyance, things continue to change around him. When the holiday season arrives, Kitty is not excited. He doesn't like the itchy sweaters, his family doesn't appreciate him singing along to Christmas carols, and he's not even allowed to eat the cookies left right out in the open on Christmas Eve. So Kitty tangles the tinsel, wrecks the wreath, and messes up the mistletoe. Kitty doesn't feel bad until he sees what a rough night Santa has had. As he and Santa show one another kindness, Kitty realizes that Christmas might not be so bad after all. This one is especially for anyone who has ever had their cat treat their Christmas tree as their own personal playground, or anyone who just likes watching those videos online. That's all I have for today. If you have any follow-up questions or need to get in touch, please feel free to reach out to my colleague, Maddie Hughes. Her email is listed on this slide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greta, and another big thanks to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, you can visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social channels, so visit us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky. 150 years of empowering library professionals, advancing access to knowledge, and protecting the freedom to read. Since 1876, the American Library Association has embodied America's aspiration for knowledge and democracy, championing the professionals who make that promise real every day. Scan the QR code on the screen or visit ala150.org to learn how you can join us in helping to shape the next 150 years of libraries. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and another big thanks to our panelists and to our sponsors, W.W. Norton Company, Charlesbridge, Waxwing, Publisher Spotlight, and Disney Publishing. This concludes today's webinar, and we'll see you next time.